Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank the honourable member for her question. Mr. Speaker, sir, as alluded to by the Honourable Minister for Tourism earlier on, in the 2021-2022 national budget, the government has made available $200 million to the COVID-19 Recovery Credit Guarantee Scheme to support businesses affected by the pandemic. The COVID-19 Recovery Credit Guarantee Scheme provides valuable financial support to businesses to help them meet their day-to-day cash flow needs, for example, including paying wages and salaries, rental costs, utility bills, purchasing stock, and other working capital expenses. Under this scheme, Mr. Speaker, sir, the commercial banks, which includes ANZ, Westpac, BSP, Bread Bank, Bank of Baroda and HFC, and the Fiji Development Bank and other licensed credit institutions like BSP Finance, Credit Corp, Merchant Finance and Kontiki Finance or can participate or access the $200 million. From what we have been informed, so far only BSP, Bread Bank, HFC and the Fiji Development Bank have actually participated or have lent money under the scheme. Mr. Speaker, sir, the $200 million is accessed from the Reserve Bank by these banks at a very low interest rate of 0.25%. On the condition, Mr. Speaker, sir, that when they lend that money to the borrowers, they don't lend it at any more than 3.99%. Mr. Speaker, sir, we've had a number of discussions and consultations and negotiations with the financial institutions, and we've had an agreement now with these institutions that should they borrow money from the RBF and on-lend it, for the first 2 years, they will not demand any principal payments, only interest payments. And there won't be any fees and charges by these banks. Mr. Speaker, sir, then to top it up, government has decided, as announced in the budget, that the interest rate payments, we will bear those interest rate payments for these businesses, because we know they have been struggling, whether it's in the tourism sector, whether it's small businesses, in particular micro businesses, medium-sized businesses, small businesses, we will pick up the tab for the interest rate for the 2 years. So essentially, if a business is able to access $100,000 under this particular scheme, for 2 years, they don't pay anything for it. No bank fees and charges, no interest rate picked up by the government of Fiji, and the principal payments will be in the 3rd year. So as a result of that, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have allocated $8 million in the 2021-2022 budget for this purpose to meet the interest cost. And also, of course, we'll do it for the 2nd year. Mr. Speaker, sir, there may also be cases where some businesses may default on their loan repayments. So what we've said, Mr. Speaker, sir, in the event that they do default, any business that borrows, that earns less than $50,000 a year, in other words, the gross turnover is $50,000 or less, they can borrow up to $10,000. If they default after 2 years, we will pick up 90% of the outstanding loan. If they default between the business size of 50,000 to 300,000, we will pick up 85%. 300,000 to 1.25 million, we will pick up 80%. And more than 1.2 million, we will pick up 75% of the default amount. So it's guaranteed, Mr. Speaker, sir. We have a similar scheme that existed previously, not with the interest rate payments, but the default rate has been very low. Businesses actually value that. They don't want to default because they want to continue to get loans. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, we've seen that happen in the first 2 years. In the first 2 weeks, Mr. Speaker, of introducing the scheme, the RBF has already received and approved 328 loan applications with a total value of $14.2 million. Interestingly enough, Mr. Speaker, sir, the FDB has received 1,684 applications. Only 3 of them came manually. All the others came digitally. They're about to also launch their app, and we understand in about 2 weeks' time or so, they're working with M-Pesa, where farmers whose loans can get approved within a matter of days will be able to get their funds disbursed through M-Pesa without actually having to come into towns and cities. So that's the level of efficiency that we are raising, and that's, Honourable Gerengere Tambua, the benefit of having M-Pesa. Mr. Speaker, sir, around 40% of the approved loan application to date is for micro-enterprises, 24% for small businesses, 21% for medium-sized businesses, and 15% for large businesses. Mr. Speaker, sir, the loans to date have also been provided to the following sectors: wholesale and retail trade, manufacturing, hotels and tourism, transportation including car rental and the bus industry, building and construction, restaurants and real estate. Mr. Speaker, sir, if you look at the existing market rate on commercial bank loans, the average is about 5.9%. This means businesses will save $11.8 million annually, or $23.6 million over 2 years in interest payments if the full amount of $200 million is disbursed. Mr. Speaker, sir, in addition, as I highlighted, businesses will save on loan fees and charges. Mr. Speaker, sir, the immense interest in this scheme has received in such a short period of time is unprecedented. Mr. Speaker, sir, the business community sought immediate financial relief from government, and we, in collaboration with the private sector, have delivered this particular scheme. And I'd like to thank the Reserve Bank of Fiji, Mr. Speaker, sir, for their participation, indeed assistance and facilitation. Last year, of course, we did a total payout of $30 million in the micro, small, medium enterprise loans. On another front, Mr. Speaker, so I just want to very quickly highlight the COVID-19 Recovery Credit Guarantee Scheme. The RBF has also, apart from that, been assisting businesses through the what we call Disaster Rehabilitation and Containment Facility and the Import Substitution and Export Finance Facility. Both facilities have undergone several changes over the years to improve accessibility and affordability, including expansion of valuable funds and available funds and reductions in interest rates. In 2020, the RBF expanded the coverage of the Natural Disaster and Rehabilitation Facility to include businesses affected by health epidemics or pandemics such as COVID-19. The expanded facility was also renamed as a Disaster Rehabilitation and Containment Facility. Again, the facility is available through the commercial banks, including FDB and others that I've named. Businesses may apply for funds to cover financial and economic losses, including for working capital needs arising from the impact of COVID-19. Recently, the RBF has increased available financing under the Disaster Rehabilitation Containment Facility from $100 million to $150 million. Loans are limited to a maximum of $500,000 per business. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Import Substitution and Export Finance Facility is aimed at improving Fiji's balance of payments position by assisting exporters, commercial agricultural farmers, and renewable energy businesses to obtain credit concessional rates. This morning we passed a particular amendment to the bill in terms of the primary industries. This all fits in. In the same way, Honourable Tuyu Savao asked about how we are assisting the tourism sector. I wish he had read the bills that we had proposed as part of the consequential bills to the budget. And these include, for example, the extension of SLIP, Short Life Investment Package, the various tax incentives were given and the tax holidays to the tourism sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, under the Disaster Rehabilitation Containment Facility, RBF has provided funding to already 46 affected businesses to a tune of $113 million, while 44 businesses have been assisted through the Import Substitution and Export Finance Facility with a total value of $111 million. In total, Mr. Speaker, sir, RBF has provided close to $250 million under these three facilities: the COVID-19 Recovery Credit Guarantee Scheme, Disaster Rehabilitation and Containment Facility, and the Import Substitution and Export Finance Facility to support businesses. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you.